Our Spark and Grit project launched on Wednesday the 21st of June with a Carron conversation at Larbert High School. The conversation was a drop-in session for all those with memories of the company, either by working there, living nearby or having a general interest in the works. We were helped by Harriet and Kira from Snook, a service design agency from Glasgow, who are conducting a feasibility study into a wider project called Carron Works. The Carron conversation was supported by local historian Brian Waters, author of the definitive history of the works, Carron, Where Iron Runs Like Water. Brian shared his own personal archive of material, including several editions of the Carron Cupola magazine that celebrated the culture of the works. Some of our visitors were delighted to identify members of their own families within the magazines, and one very important visitor, 91-year-old Andrew Matheson, was able to spot his wedding photograph in a 1950s edition of the magazine. Andrew started in the works as a 14-year-old office junior and rose to the role of manager, overseeing the production of the famous Carron postboxes. Andrew's late wife, Grace, also worked in the Carron company as a secretary and in the showroom. She was very much known as the face of the company, undertaking many public relations duties. When the Carron company closed in the 1980s, Andrew established his own postbox manufacturing business, the Carronade Engineering Company, making postboxes for 15 years until he retired when he was 70. Andrew was delighted to see that members of our community arts wheel had made a replica Carron postbox for visitors to send their postcard memories of the works. Harriet and Kira from Snook made the postcards, which were an ideal way of collecting memories of the day. Senior pupils taking higher art decorated the classroom windows with images from the life of the works, including the famous Carronade gun and the Phoenix logo with the company motto, Esto Perpetua, Last Forever. The windows were also decorated with images from a famous visit to the works. Rabbi Burns attempted to visit the works on a Sunday but was given short shrift by the gateman. Rabbi and his friend retired to the nearby Carron Inn for the night, where Rabbi famously inscribed a window with a cheeky poem directing his anger towards the works. On seeing Burns's poem, William Benson, a clerk at the works, wrote a response, rebuking him for not attending church on the Sabbath. Other materials on show at the Carron conversation were miniature replicas of the Carronade brought in by Brian Waters and Ian Scott from the Falkirk History Society. Munitions were an important product of the long history of the company, with the Carronade being a strategic weapon in both the Napoleonic Wars and the American Wars of Independence. Munitions were also a major product during the First and Second World Wars. Ian brought in a munitionette's outfit from the First World War that she would have worn while assembling armaments. This was tried on by Becky, one of her second-year pupils, and seemed to be a perfect fit. Brian also showed us a medal presented to all those who worked for the Carron company during the war and were not conscripted into the armed forces due to their much-needed skill on the home front. Our special guest, Andrew Matheson, recalled how he had not long started as a 14-year-old office junior when he was seconded to work in the company's nearby mines in Pleen. Andrew spent the rest of the war years at the coalface, providing the valuable fuel for the company to supply munitions. The Carron company was also famous for its domestic products, and Niamh Conlon from Falkirk Museums brought along an example of a smoothing iron, as well as interesting production pieces such as decorative moulds and patterns. She also brought a pair of protective clogs that ironworkers would have worn as they tapped the blast furnaces for molten iron and guided it into the pig beds to make pig iron. Niamh pointed out that there was actually very little protective clothing for the workforce and that serious burns were very common. The company created a treatment for burns called Carron Oil, which was based on linseed oil and lime water, which was on sale in the Falkirk area well into the 1950s. Another interesting display in our Carron conversation was our map table. Brian had brought in many early maps of the area, illustrating how the local farming land had been divided to make way for the extensive works and dams area. It highlighted the strategic importance of water in the original plans. The water from the River Carron was not only diverted into the dams to power the water wheels that worked the blast furnaces, but the river was also used to transport the goods to the River Forth and then on to the wider world. We also learned that the company was fully integrated and that it also owned the mines that provided the iron ore, lime and coke needed for production. The company owned every part of the process from manufacture to delivery, which accounted for its huge success. Harriet and Kira from Snook had also brought in their own modern map of the local area and asked guests to pin their memories to specific locations on the map. For several guests, this was an area that no longer exists, called West Carron Village, tied housing that was built by the company to accommodate the ironworkers. Harriet and Kira had also brought along a senses board that asked guests to recall the sensations of living near or working in the ironworks. Many recalled the sound of the 8 a.m. horn signalling the start of the working day, and even used it as their own personal alarm clock, ensuring they were not late for school or work. Several people recall it sounding like a ship's horn, very apt as the company was so heavily involved in shipping. Amongst the memorabilia Brian brought in, there were many references to the Carron shipping line. What originally started as a way of transporting raw materials and finished goods soon became a passenger-carrying enterprise. The company had its own wharf on the Thames in London near St Paul's, and from there Carron products were globally distributed. Early ships were well armed with the company's famous carronades, so there was little chance of the ships running into difficulties during times of conflict. They were regarded as a very secure passage. Finally, a significant legacy of the Carron Company is the Carron Dams Local Nature Reserve, adjacent to Labart High School. Over the past 4 years, this fascinating location has been an inspirational outdoor classroom and a context for learning across many curricular areas, from creative and factual writing in English to film and photography and media and art. Humanities continue to deliver the John Muir Award to all S1 pupils on this site, and STEM subjects explore the unique biodiversity of this location. The classroom walls during our Carron conversation were adorned by many of the creative works pupils have produced as a result of their engagement with the space. The Carron Company motto was Esto Perpetua, last forever. Its symbol was the phoenix, a mythical bird that rises eternally from the ashes. Though the company no longer exists as an ironworks, it exists in our imaginations and will continue to inspire us.